Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Jane Wood, Vice President for Academic Affairs. And before we begin this joyous ceremony, we ask that you please be respectful and turn off all place them on silent. Please remain standing, and men, including graduates, kindly remove your hats for the singing choir.
and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, home of the
Marty College Prayer, written by Father Thomas Werdick, was established as a way for us to come together as a community in prayer before college events. Dr. Anthony Maglione, Jewel College in Liberty, Missouri, was commissioned to set the piece to music. so that you and our neighbors saved. We praise the things through Jesus, your Son, in the power of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning and welcome. I'm Mark Long, and I'm honored to be the president of Mount Marty College. And on behalf of our Board of Trustees, our faculty, staff, students, and our alumni throughout around the world, I warmly welcome you to our Mount Marty College 2018 spring commencement. It's also a moment to acknowledge that this is a time I'm very honored to welcome all who are here to celebrate with our graduates today. As many of you know, this college is sponsored by the Benedictine Sisters of Sacred Heart Monastery. And for more than 135 years, the sisters have lived in a monastic community in Yankton. And we at Mount Marty College bring that same focus on community to everything we do. You, our graduates, now fully understand the importance of the Mount Marty College community, and it's your turn to take that Benedictine education forward into other communities and into the world, and do great things. Remember, though, that you will always be a part of this Mount Marty community. We also realize that you had a lot of help along your journey. Today, we're honored to have many parents, brothers and sisters, grandparents, husbands and wives, children, and other family members with us today as guests. I know that all of you are filled with a great sense of pride. You too are to be congratulated for all your hard work in supporting these students during their studies. Let's take a moment to recognize family and friends joining us today. I'd also like to recognize faculty and staff members that are here today. Their dedication to the mission, commitment to academic excellence, and the support they provide to our students and each other is greatly appreciated. Will the faculty who are in academic regalia and the staff who are throughout the facility please stand and be recognized? Before we continue, I would also like to acknowledge our Board of Trustees. They donate their time, talents, and treasure to ensure that Mount Marty College fulfills its mission and continues our Catholic Benedictine educational tradition. Will the Board of Trustees please stand to be recognized? At this time, there will be a slight change in the program, and I'd like to introduce Vice President and Dean for Student Affairs, Sarah Sarda, as she announces the recipients of our student awards. Sarah?
Our first set of awards are chosen by the seniors to appear they feel best represents our core values. So the first one is Awareness of God, and the award goes to Riley Pearson. The next core value award is Community, and this year's recipient is Brandon Ronning. Our next core value, Hospitality, and this year's recipient is Abby Keffler. And our final Core Value Award for Lifelong Learning, the recipient is Aaron Boyle. next awards are voted on the Office of Student Affairs for the students we best feel exemplify the awards. The first is Benedictine Balance. And the criterion for this award is based on a student's ability to exhibit balance in life. The student chosen to receive this award has shown the value of a life in harmony encompassing academics, co-curricular activities, and a commitment to a spiritual life. This year's recipient is Ellen Rentz. The next award is Leadership Among Peers. This award is given to a student who has exhibited positive peer role modeling while embodying the mission and core values of Mount Marty College. This award goes to Sean Morin. The next award is the Father Thomas Werdekemper Service to the Mount Marty College Community Award. This award is given to a student who sacrifices personal time to share talents, gifts, and spirit and service to the Mount Marty College community. This year's recipient is Morgan Sitterman. The final award is our Father Owen Award, is given to a male and female in the class. And this memorial award recognizes a senior student who reflects Father Owen's style of service to others. Recipients are chosen based on their generosity in serving, sincerity, loyal to Mount Marty College, commitment to principles and Christian values, and ability to touch the lives of many people. This year's recipient is Vanessa Reichen. Our male recipient is Brandon Ronning.
Thank you, Sarah, and congratulations to our award recipients. From time to time, colleges and universities choose to recognize outstanding achievement by awarding honorary degrees. Tom Lorang, you, sir, have dedicated your life to service and to the betterment of your community. Tom is a native of Hartford, South Dakota, and after high school, he attended college before, as he said, he had what Benedictines would call some cave time at a seminary. After prayer and thought, he ultimately decided that he did want a life of service and to help people, and embarked on a lifetime of service through education. In 1966, he began a 12-year teaching and coaching career here in the Yankton School District. In 1978, he moved to O'Gorman High School in Sioux Falls and excelled in a 35-year administrative career in Catholic education, all along walking around with his morning coffee in a Mount Marty College cup. After 23 years as superintendent of the Sioux Falls Catholic Schools, that's 23 years as superintendent of Sioux Falls Catholic Schools, Tom retired in 2014. He didn't really retire, though, because the Mount Marty College Board of Trustees immediately asked him to be the interim president here in 2014 and 2015, when many of these young men and women were freshmen. He continues to serve as a part-time consultant at the college, working on partnerships throughout the region. In short, Tom Lorang is a living legend in South Dakota education. He has impacted the lives of literally thousands of young men and women in this state and beyond, and improved them and their communities through his efforts in Catholic education. Here are just a few quotes from others about Tom's impact. Father Chuck Semple, Tom's close friend, says, "Tom's knowledge of education is welded to a deep appreciation of what faith can do to help a person develop in his or her life." The Most Reverend Robert J. Carlson, Archbishop of St. Louis and former Bishop of Sioux Falls, says Tom's leadership and commitment to strengthen Catholic schools and build for a bright future is very evident. He's the perfect candidate to receive an honorary degree from Mount Marty College. And Sister Catherine Easley, and longtime teacher and administrator in Catholic education in Sioux Falls, said, "I've ministered with Dr. Lorang in a wide variety of roles over the past 40 years. I have such a deep respect and love for him. With a deep faith and a servant's heart, Tom has dedicated his life to the ministry of Catholic education. Along with Tom's vision and leadership skills and his wisdom and knowledge of academics, his hallmark is that no matter who he's with, where he is, or what he's working on, each individual will be treated with respect, dignity, and fairness." Tom, my colleagues at the college couldn't agree with Sister Catherine. Tom is quick to give much credit to others, including the constant support of his wife Penny and daughter Janet and her family. It's true, however, that his life has been, and still is, one of service to God and others. Dr. Lorang, will you please join me at the podium? The professors of Mount Marty College have recommended to me, and I have recommended to the Board of Trustees, that you, Thomas Lorang, be conferred with the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa. The board has agreed and vested me with the authority to confer this degree, which I will now do. For exceptional service to your community, your church, and Catholic education, and for service to others, on this 12th day of May, in the year of our Lord, 2018, I, Marcus Long, confer the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa to you, Tom Lorang, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dr. Thomas Lorang.
And now I'm supposed to talk. Pretty heavy. President Long, sisters, members of the Mount Marty Board of Education, faculty, staff, relatives, friends, and distinguished graduates, it is truly an honor and a privilege to be with you today. And thank you very much for those extra kind remarks and for those people who sent in their stories. I think they twisted it and embellished a bit, but anyway, thank you all for that. You know, I have been fortunate enough over the years to receive a number of degrees, having doing research on or working in Catholic institutions. I've never received a degree from a Catholic institution. So this is special, and I accept it humbly, and I appreciate it greatly. Also, congratulations, especially because this is about you, not me, you. Congratulations, class of 2018. You indeed deserve to be honored today for the sacrifice and your perseverance that you have put in to reach this quite a milestone. And I feel extra privileged to be here today because we're getting our degrees together, and I came with you about 4 years ago. I got to know some of you. I wish I would have known more of you, but it was interim. And so that makes it extra special. God, grant me the serenity to cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. My comments this morning will relate to the Serenity Prayer and to its relationship to the core values of this Benedictine college that you see and that we've talked about, and the theme that for most of you people are aware of our core values, but if not, we're going to continue to discuss them. As I speak to them today, I'm not a theologian. We have theologians in the crowd, and they speak much more to the Benedictine rules and the wisdom of Benedict. I speak more from having been an educational psychologist and administrator. So I spent my life studying learning and human behavior and organizational behavior. And I know the impact that these core values can have, especially as it relates to what we just heard in the Serenity Prayer. The Serenity Prayer appeals to many people. And obviously, a lot of us know the Serenity Prayer because it has become the trademark prayer for the Alcoholics Anonymous and many 12-step programs. But the appeal is much broader than that. It struck a universal chord because we see that prayer framed in place. We see it on walls and desks and people's wallets. So it has struck a chord. Why? And as the researcher and the psychologist in me says, I have to explain why. I have to know that. So the prayer is asking for God's help to assist in a big way, a really big way. It asks for serenity to accept the things that we cannot change. You know, we're bombarded and we are anxious about a lot of things. So we look at grades, taking our boards, jobs, relationships, money, our own self-esteem, many things that can cause us angst. The Jesuit priest and psychologist John Powell, who's authored many books, two of which are Why Am I Afraid to Tell You Who I Am and Why Am I Afraid to Love, has a very sobering statement in those books and a premise from which he operates. And that is, if you really knew me, you wouldn't like me. If you really knew me, you wouldn't like me. And he says that most people have that hurt inside of them, and that's a driving force in them. And so as we look at what that means to us, we know that many people put on a lot of different faces, and they find coping skills, and they find ways to be more likable, to be accepted, and to build their self-esteem. And so we know this about other people, because we know with other people, when we get to know them, we do like them, but we don't always know that about ourselves. So if you really knew me, you wouldn't like me. The next line in that prayer says, it asks that you give me the courage to change the things that I can. So it asks for strength to act or to carry on in the face of pain, grief, failure, many other known or unknown fears. How do we find the strength of character to make moral and ethical choices, especially when others around us are not? We could use some help. So the next line, when we look for the wisdom to know the difference, that was always the kicker for me. Because I work to be serene, work to have courage, but the wisdom to know the difference. And I'm still pursuing that and attempting to figure out what that wisdom is. And it is somewhat fleeting, but wisdom is defined as the ability to apply that which we've already learned and from experiences to current and future experiences. But what if what we've learned has been dysfunctional? Or what if it's not been real? And so and then we might have harmful behavior as Alcoholics Anonymous and people that have to get into 12-step programs. But for us, most of us have figured out some ways to function normally in this world, and some of us quite happily, thankfully. And we have a lot of self-help books and friends, family, people that support us that can help us grow to be the better person, to be with the better angels. But all the understanding of self and others and the peeling away will still leave an empty hole, still wanting more. Viktor Frankl is a renowned psychotherapist and was a prisoner of war in World War II. Wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And an interesting sidelight is that as he was looking for meaning and he was finding meaning in his life, as he was sitting there malnourished in a cell as a prisoner of war, not knowing whether he was going to live another day, he was in a better place and more at peace than the German soldier who was guarding the cell. And so they would come to him and talk to him for counseling and try to find peace. And he says that when you peel it all away and you do all the psychotherapy and we find our inner core, we know who we are, we know who others are, there's still at our core a need for meaning in our lives. So at night when we're tired and we're going to sleep, we sit there and think, what is my life all about? And where is the meaning in my life? So if we accept that premise, that we need meaning in our lives, then we have to attempt to try to find ways to make that happen. So what we'd call, the psychologists call stinking thinking. We got to get rid of that stinking thinking. We got to get rid of those bad habits. We got to get rid of those things that make us think that if you really knew me, that you wouldn't like me. Because we got to come and say, you know what, if you really knew me, you'd like me. And I know I'd like you. And we get along great. And we can be there and we can have that. But we know what we have to do. We have to change some habits. We have to change some of and relearn some things. Creating meaning is the heart and the soul of Mount Marty College. The core values, which we see up there on the stage and for which we just honored some folks, and congratulations to them. That was well deserved. The core values provide the guide to a centered, meaningful life. We've been exposed to those. You have, I have, and I've learned a lot about those over the last 4 years about benefit that I wish I would have known the wisdom of benefit years ago. As a psychologist and as an educator, that would have helped me greatly. Because you think about the influence that he's had in the world, and I won't go there because people start tapping me on the shoulder. But as we look at that, as we look at the core values in terms of what they can do to assist us in developing good habits, we look at the awareness of God, which is the primary leg in which we're functioning, the divine presence everywhere, the integration of faith and reason, and also just the fact that the monastery is on the campus. You hear that bell ringing, you know that they're over there praying, and we have prayer partners, and the opportunities that you have to come together to pray, build community. There's something about it. I know Dr. Long and I have talked about this before, because I really felt it. I really felt the presence of their prayers. And I know there's a couple of one of my prayer partners said, do you feel the prayers? And I got to say to her honestly, I feel them strongly. In the year I was out on the campus, you could just, it was palpable. And they are praying for you all the time, and they will continue to pray for you. In the building of community, the importance of how we interact with each other, to form our relationships, to build trust, to learn how to cooperate with each other. It's a search for the common good. And then also, we've been taught to listen with our hearts. Boy, that's strong. I'm going to try to remember that one forever. Listen with our hearts. You folks I've found out a few more things about you in terms of your building community. Many of you had jobs while you were going to school here. A large percentage of you were in co-curricular activities. A larger number than normal are in leadership positions and showed leadership ability. You had strong support for each other as a class. You hung out with each other at the Raven, at Benny's, which to you will always be the cyber cafe. At the beach, simple arena, the ball fields. You like putting puzzles together and doing board games, and probably hung out other places that we're not aware of. But all part of community, right? And I'm sure you prayed before you went. Or after you went, one or the other, or the morning after you went. The other core value is hospitality, and that's huge in this campus, right? I mean, who doesn't know that this campus does emphasize hospitality? I've never met a more caring place. All the time, anytime I've ever come here, it's so welcoming. It's like you're enveloped. You come on this campus, you're around people, and whoo, and you're loved, and you're cared for. All are welcome as Christ. All are welcome as Christ. We understand and we promote the dignity of every human being, the recognition that with God, all of us are equal. None of us are any better. None of us are any less. We're all equal. Finally, the last one, the lifelong learning, how important it is that we develop critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, and that we continue to grow. Because this is, and you'll get those talks from people, and that's what graduation talks are supposed to be about, aren't they? Here you are, and just take this, and now you got to go out in the world and make a big difference. And you will. But also the humility to know, and confidence. I do know some things. I've worked hard. I've got this degree. Thank you, Lord, and I deserve this. But humility to know that I do need God. I do have greater needs, and I do need other people. St. Benedict's rule suggests that individuals and communities who desire more meaningful lives establish a balanced and centered lives and communities. Both balance and focus are necessary. Balance in prayer, work, study, but focused on prayer, work, and study. Because if we're going to break bad habits, we have to develop habits for prayer, effective work, effective study. And I know in athletics or music, or probably if you're doing your clinicals or nursing or practice teaching in student, if you practice sloppily, if you don't do well in clinicals or in student, you probably aren't going to do well when you get out of there. So you learn, and we work hard at it, and then we focus, and then we know that we learn some more, and then we learn some more. And we have the humility to go to people and rely on our God. With that time spent and the focus spent on building the discipline to pray, work, study, play, and have joy, have the gratitude, we developed good habits. And I would say that with that, those habits will start to make you a virtuous leader and a more whole person, that you will recognize meaning in your life. And at the time then when we look at the Serenity Prayer for the times when we face adversity and we need calmness or we need courage, that it's there because we've practiced, we've worked, we've built ourselves, we recognize ourselves as being worthy of, and we have the courage and humility. The final thing with lifelong learning is that for an old guy like me, in case you didn't know what I was talking about, that came down when I retired, as President Long said, I was ready to retire because I remained another 5 years longer than I planned on where I was at the schools to build new buildings. And so at the time, I was ready to be done. And then this place was open, and I prayed, and I visited with people here about that. I said, God, what do you want me to do? And kind of hoping that God would lead me to, it's time to retire. But God didn't say that to me. He didn't have this conversation, but everything in me and the people around me were saying, Tom, if you're praying, that sounds like what you should do. So we did. We come down here, and I'm thinking, God wants me to go down here. I've been in education, and I understand organizations, so we can go down, we can spend some time down there. And in my simple little mind, I'm sacrificing my retirement, and I'm going down there to help. Guess what happened? Mount Marty happened. And once you get Mount Martyized, it changes your heart. I didn't go down to help. God said go down there, not for you to help, but for them to help you. And so I thank Mount Marty for that, and I thank the class of 2018 for being an integral part of Mount Marty. And I ask that God blesses you on this happy day and all your future endeavors.
Thank you, Tom. I'd like to introduce the Mount Marty Chamber Choir under the direction of Brandon Connell as they sing Light of a Clear Blue Morning by Dolly Parton.
clear blue. I can see the light. Clear blue. I can see the light. Blue, blue morning. Blue morning.
We now come to the conferring of degrees. Would the Master of Science and Nursing degree candidates please stand? President Long, all of these candidates have completed all the requirements and demonstrated the originality and the excellence appropriate to earn master's degrees. I am pleased to present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. With the recommendation of the Vice President for Academic Affairs and the Dean of the College, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and the State of South Dakota, I confer upon each of you the Master of Science in Nursing degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. As directed by the ambassadors, please come to the stage and receive your diplomas. Registrar Jono Supergessi, will you please call the roll?
Nicole Lynn Bamberg. Amanda Christine Beer. Christy K. Biltoff. Mary Elizabeth Brown. Rachel Louise Dykstra. John Michael Gullickson. Allie R. Klippenstein. Brooke Lancaster. Jenna Mueller. Alexis M. Semler.
Please be seated. Would all Bachelor of Arts degree candidates please stand? President Long, all of these candidates have completed all the requirements for their respective degrees. I am pleased to present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. With the recommendation of the Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of the College, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and the State of South Dakota, I confer upon each of you the Bachelor's of Arts degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. As directed by the ambassadors, please come to the stage and receive your diplomas. Registrar Supergessi, please call the roll.
Karina M. Aguirre. Kayla Jo Barger. Ashley Alana Binder. Aaron A. Boyle. Sarah Jo Brandt. Hannah K. Buchholz. Callahan. Marissa Cantrell. Skylar Carey. Laura Jordan Cattle. Drew Chesky. Mallory A. Chehawk. Ashner. Derek Charles Denning. Jessica Ann Erickson. Georgie Lee Marie Flynn. Marissa Joy Frank. Bobby Joe Green. Benjamin Hagee. Jalen T. Hurley. Lindsay Elizabeth Jackson. Trevor John Judding. Mason Michael Kitefers. Abby K. Keffler. William Albert Lawrence. Ethan Lynn. Marcus James Matthew. Gabrielle A. McCoon. Derek J. Miller. Jennifer Matera. Kelsey M. Matera. Sean Michael Morin. Patrick T. Mulvaney. Taylor Kathleen Murtha. Kyle Pardun. Riley G. Pearson. Madison Elizabeth Profeta. Ellen Rose Rentz. Vanessa Beatrice Reichen. Rebecca Jo Sadler. Callie A. Sokol. Kelsey Ann Sotera. Lily Frances Tackey. Louis F. Trevino. Samuel Tyler Voigt. Jennifer Rose Vondrak. Olivia Grace Ray. Jean Zaksreski.
Please be seated. Would all Bachelors of Science and Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree candidates please stand? President Long, all of these candidates have completed all their requirements for their respective degrees. I am pleased to present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
Thank you, Dean Wood. With the recommendation of the Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of the College, and by the authority vested in me by both the Board of Trustees and the State of South Dakota, I confer upon each of you Bachelor's of Science or Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities to appertaining. As directed by the ambassadors, please come to the stage and receive your diplomas. Registrar Gussie, please call the roll.
Brandy Marie Ballard. Molly Catherine Bolzer. Emily E. Boyle. Emily Ann Ekstrom. Quinn Conan. Carly J. Kozak. Brandon James Ronning. William Akut. Morgan Lynn Sitterman. Ashley A. Dickus. Brianna K. Dewar. Melvin D. Gable. Natalie Elizabeth Gross. Morgan K. Hay. Shayna Hazing. Garrett William Hofer. Logan Hoyleen. Christina Marie Kitefers. Colin J. Matthews. Amanda Deanne McCafferty. Heather Lynn Morris. Hortense Nigana. Rachel Lynn Reef. Bobby Joe Soka. Marquis Michelle Cesny. Philip.
You may be seated. Would all associate's degree candidates please stand? President Long, all of these candidates have completed all the requirements for the respective degrees. I am pleased to present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. With the recommendation of the Vice President, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and the State of South Dakota, I confer upon each of you the associate's degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. As directed by the ambassadors, please come to the stage and receive your diplomas. Registrar Supergessi, please call the roll.
Alan K. Bistrup. Cristiano K. Hashimoto. Timothy M. Wilson. Alfredo R. Cerna. Lloyd L. Westervelt.
Will all of the graduates please stand one more time? Ladies and gentlemen assembled here today, it is my pleasure to present to you the Mount Marty College Class of 2018. Thank you. You may be seated. One of the perks of being the president is that I can be the first to offer my congratulations to you and best wishes for a purpose-driven and successful future. This day signifies a new beginning for each and every one of you. And on behalf of the faculty and staff of Mount Marty College, thank you for entrusting us with your education. It's truly an honor to walk with you on your journey, and one we take very seriously. I trust that you found your experience both rewarding and rigorous. I encourage you to always strive to build on those core values that we embrace as a Catholic Benedictine college: awareness of God, community, hospitality, and lifelong learning. And I think, as Dr. Larang would say, you've now been Mount Martyized. As you leave today, keep in mind that the richest rewards are garnered through serving others. We now put our faith in you to become leaders in your professions and in your communities, and to carry out the tradition of excellence for which our graduates are known. Please do keep in touch with us. Good luck and Godspeed. May we have one final round of applause for all of our graduates. Let me just tell you, there are a few dry eyes out there and just a few dry eyes up here. Thank you for all you've done. Now, please welcome Stephen Wagner, a fellow Mount Marty College alumnus and member of the Mount Marty College Alumni Council, as he will welcome you formally into the Mount Marty College Alumni Association. Steve?
Thank you, President Long. It is my pleasure to congratulate each of you today as graduates of the class of 2018. Would all Mount Marty College alumni in attendance today please stand? Let those of us here and the nearly 9,000 alumni around the world all be the first to say, welcome to Mount Marty College Alumni Association. While you are students for a relatively short time, you now will be Mount Marty alumni for a lifetime. As you prepare to embark on the next phase of your life, we look forward to helping you maintain your relationship with Mount Marty. As new members, you can help by making the alumni network stronger, by staying connected, being informed, and remaining involved and engaged. Remember to always remain committed to your community, both locally and globally. The world we live in needs today people who are eager and willing to share their talents with one another, especially the least privileged. Share your pride in Mount Marty College and encourage others to do the same. Every day represents new experiences, opportunities for personal growth and lifelong learning. Consider this the beginning, not the end of your pursuit of knowledge. Finally, on the behalf of the Alumni Association, I again congratulate you and your individual accomplishments and challenge each of you to join hands with us in continuing to help build and support this great college in the months and years ahead. We know you will never forget Mount Marty and hope that you will come back often and grow with the college that's on the move. Go Lancers! Congratulations.
Following the benediction, the audience is requested to remain standing until the academic procession has filed out. Please join us for a reception for the graduates in Benedict's Cafe. Men, including graduates, please now kindly remove your hats. The commencement exercises at Mount Marty College will conclude with the singing of the benediction by Mount Marty College choir members and a benediction by Father Valerian.
Lancer choirs would like to invite any faculty, staff, students who are former choir members, or alums who were choir members to come up and sing the benediction if you would like.
You, dear graduates, prepare to leave Mount Marty College, this place where you have been loved. Though you leave Mount Marty College, the hope and prayer today is that Mount Marty College never leaves you. Here on our part, we promise that at this place, you will be held in prayer for years to come. And we anxiously look forward, as others have stated, to your return from time to time to your alma mater, where you will always be at home. So there is a bit of sadness at your leave-taking, but there's even more joy at your accomplishments. For that reason, we now join with many people who hold you so dear as we share a parting blessing. First, I would ask everyone to glance at the cover of your program. There you will find the motto of Mount Marty College, Scientia Veritas Sapientia, knowledge, truth, wisdom. So, dear graduates, may knowledge guide you as you make decisions. May truth light up the path of your comings and goings. May wisdom give you a maturity beyond your years. And together, may these three make of you loving and compassionate people who are leaders in this time and in all the places where life takes you. And so, as John Wesley so admirably put it, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, to all the people you can, at all the times you can, as long as ever you can. Graduates, Godspeed and congratulations. You will be missed.